Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Straight talk about a foreigner and a Filipina trusting each other. We're going to talk quite a bit over the next 5 videos, I think it'll be, about trust, because it's just so very important with foreigner and Filipina relationship. That's something that's going to be on the mind of both of them, and it actually goes both ways. I married a Filipina myself from almost 10,000 miles away 7 years ago. Pull up a chair today, hear the talk about trust. Subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea and learn more than trust, because I want to help with all kinds of things that you'll need to know about a relationship with a woman from the Philippines. Even after marriage, we want to find our spouse trustworthy. I've rarely seen in-depth talk about the topic of trust on YouTube, so I will do something about it. If you're so inclined, you're welcome to leave a comment in this video about trust. I will share some thoughts and experiences that we have had in this area. Trust is important, of course, in any relationship of any kind, but especially when getting to know someone like a Filipina who could be thousands of miles away. It's one thing that you trust a Filipina, but I want to talk about how long it takes, to think that you trust her. Here's my definition of trust. Trusting someone means that you think they are reliable, you have confidence in them, and you feel safe physically and emotionally. That's all wrapped up in this idea of trust in these upcoming videos. So I want to share what I've learned, since being married since May of 2015. Follow along if you're open to considering starting a relationship with a Filipina, or are already in one, or have been married for quite a while. I proposed to my wife on just day 18 without meeting her in person. Then flew to the Philippines, and we got married in just 54 days. Could have been sooner if not for not having a passport at that time. Then you got to wait 10 days when you're in the country before marrying. I just really wanted to marry her. To be honest with you, I hope you trust me. I don't remember asking myself if I trusted her enough to marry that fast. There had to be some elements to the short relationship that led me to believe I could trust her. I find the whole trust issue confounding. I'm not unintelligent, I'm not afraid of commitment, but I'm not a riverboat gambler either, but something made me think I could trust her. In the 30 years prior that I couldn't find a relationship, I suppose I could have allowed myself to get sucked into a bad relationship, but I didn't. Has to be a reason I trusted this woman from the Philippines to be my wife so quickly. Considering we were doing well in the 7 years since, a certain level of trust must have been present way back then, enough to get off the ground anyway. To delve into trust, I'll ask 4 questions, talk about one of them here today. Comments are welcome, of course. Let me know what you needed to know in order to trust your Filipina, or what she needed to trust you. Let me know how long it took to trust each other. This will be in multiple parts. For now, let's talk about the thought process and when you know you can trust each other. So the first question, how much should I be able to trust her in order to marry her? Absolute trust would require us to live through a multitude of arguments and conflicts and situations over a long time. So that can't be the standard for my trust, for my comfort level. Not unless you want to wait 10 or 15 years to decide if you trust someone. Again, trusting means someone that you think they're reliable, you have confidence in them, and you feel safe physically and emotionally. Maybe my standards, or should I say my expectations, weren't super high. 27-year age gap, different culture, little in-person observation. I married her on the first trip there. I trusted her as much as someone asking the questions I did and getting the answers I got could trust her, could feel that she was reliable, and give me enough confidence to trust her more by marrying her. We've been together 7 years. I still trust her. She still trusts me, I think, more. Can there be degrees of trust, increasing degrees of trust? Probably, based on time together, length of time. If I say I trust her more today than when we got married, does that mean that I didn't trust her before? I can say that over time, she has confirmed my trust. If I am checking her Facebook, for example, and people that she talks to without reason to suspect her of something, that would indicate, most likely, I had a hard time trusting her, trusting people. And maybe I'm doing that only because some other people have made me feel that way with what they say. My wife was consistent in her comments to me in those early days, didn't see contradictions. I saw her on camera at her house, where I think it would be less likely that she would pull a fast one on me. She really gave me no reason to distrust her. I could have asked endless questions about why she would want to marry me, kind of being skeptical, but I didn't. Before I conclude, there's the idea that a man has to know almost everything about a Filipina or any woman before marrying her. And the same could be said about trust, I suppose. What does that feel like or look like? Let me know. I know in job interviews that, should be very carefully carried out. Even after multiple interviews, you still don't know what you are getting when you hire someone. You can talk to the person, former colleagues and employers, even friends and family, if you can go that far, but you still may end up realizing you missed something somewhere and having a false sense of trust. You were sold a false sense of goods. You were deceived. I'm saying that is okay because trust is earned. The truth is going to come out, but trust is earned over time, and it is the same thing with looking for love beyond the sea.